Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Morgenthau, who I refer to constantly. He is a living legend. I think he's the greatest district attorney in the history of the state. I'd love to sit and talk to him sometime and hear those stories, but he also was on the phone with me last Friday for about 25 minutes about farming. I was on the thruway, and Mr. Morgenthau and I had a great conversation. And he is as passionate about farming and agriculture as he was about his incredible career, actually several careers, including his service to our country, his service to the city of New York. So, Mr. Morgenthau, I salute you and thank you for being here. David, American Farmland Trust, I want to thank you all for coming. I'll try and be brief. I feel like I'm here to talk about computers in a room full of technology experts. You are the experts. I'm a consumer. My father's father owned a farm and then lost it during the Depression and worked on a farm until through most of his life. My wife's mother grew up on a farm, also in the area of Rochester, and so there's connections in the family. But you know what I do appreciate is not only do we have the greatest state in the nation, we have the greatest agricultural community in the nation. When you look at what we produce in this state and what we produce each year, and I know that I think in 2010, if I had my data correct, this is a $4.7 billion industry in New York State. That is huge. That is huge across the entire state of New York. 4.7 billion. I think we're number 4 in milk production. We produce 6% of the milk for this entire nation. And with the influx of yogurt companies, and I think Chobani is represented here today, a great company. That milk production is going up commensurately. I think it's increased in one year about 58%. So there's so many things going on that are so helpful. I'm here just to represent Governor Cuomo, and first of all, I'll tell you, we have a governor who gets it, a governor who understands the impact of agriculture and economics, a governor who has appointed to the Commissioner of Ag and Markets a farmer. He's also made an appointment. The former Commissioner of Ag and Markets is now in Empire State Development, connecting agriculture and economic development, which I think is a key linchpin for all of us, for you and for this entire state. The Environmental Protection Fund, while held flat, I would say this, in a year, 2 years, we're last year a $10 billion budget gap, this year a $2 billion budget gap. To hold firm with where the fund is, in other years, it's like a boost. So I think it shows the governor's commitment to hold that flat and keep that there. He's made investments in several ways in his budget this year for farmland protection and agriculture. He has a program underway to expand markets and distribution centers around the state. And as a former mayor, I was saying earlier in the conversation, one of the things I have a great passion for is seeing, especially kids and families in underserved communities, not having the kind of foods available they should have when we're in a state that produces, I think, the best food in the country. And so somehow making those connections back and forth are opportunities for us to really take advantage of. I just would tell you one story and then a couple of questions, and I'll be very, very brief. When I was campaigning with the governor, I went up to, I believe it was Essex County, for a meeting, and in my last 2 careers, I could probably go toe-to-toe with anybody for a number of community and neighborhood meetings I've attended in my career, thousands of them. But one of the most compelling meetings I've ever been at was with this group of farmers up in the North Country. And I remember very clearly one of the farmers, when I walked in, and we started the meeting, said, you know, he pointed me and you as state government, I was not even elected, I was still a mayor, but we were running on a campaign, but he pointed and said, you as a state government, you will spend millions and millions of dollars giving money to companies who take that money and pick up their roots and leave, but you won't pay attention to us or our farmers. We can't leave our land. We are here, we're staying, our feet are planted. And this meeting went on to make an incredible, compelling argument for how the state has to look very differently, and in terms of how we have our regulations, our procedures, our support for economic development. And I'm here to tell you, the governor, in the worst of financial times, has started off on a path which I think you will find down the road will grow and expand upon. He gets it, he understands, he listens. I want to thank people like Julie Suarez and Dean Norton from the Farm Bureau who have really helped me understand. David, who's been a tremendous advocate on our transition team, who's really helped this administration understand what we need to do. And I'm listening before lunch to his great husband and wife from Goshen who have a farm, and I listened to the story. And as I'm standing here before lunch, I just have one of the greatest suggestions. I won't say what it is here, but I will follow through on that when I leave. I'm going to make a phone call and see if that can happen, because I think it was just a very straightforward suggestion how we can support farmers. What I would ask is, and one of the best things for the Farmland Trust, we have a very healthy legislative agenda, but part of what I would ask to do is help us to understand and connect those dots. You are certainly right on point with what you're advocating for, but if there are things that you see as we get on the road that we can keep improving upon, I think we have a team in place that does get it, that wants to help, but a lot of it is just us listening, following through, understanding what we can do as a state to make not only a much better playing field, an even playing field, but to support agriculture. Just like the major companies across the state, as I said, this industry is huge for the economy and the health of New Yorkers. It really is. So we have to make sure that we do everything we can to invest where we can, even during some tough times, to listen. Mr. Morgenthau was very passionate last week on the phone talking about state agencies buying food from local farmers, which you just mentioned. Could not agree more with that. There certainly, behind every good idea, there's always a host of impediments as to why it's not being done. But I did get a hold of the governor's office that day. We're following through on that and trying to get an answer back to see what can be done, because it does make sense. And as part of the regional development, actually regional councils for economic development, what we're trying to do is connect region to region, connect businesses, connect those who have a supply or product with demand. It's no different with agriculture. Agriculture is a big part of those economic development councils, especially in certain regions where it's one of the big driving forces. There is a company in Rochester, I'm very close friends with the CEO, who is now expanding his products, and he's reaching out to dairy farmers in Genesee County. He's buying dairy products from them. He's expanding on a new line, and his belief is buy New York. Buy local, buy New York, which I think is what many people in this room are advocating for. I just want to close by saying that you are a big part of New York State's economic future. You are a big part of where we're going to go, creating jobs, creating economic opportunity. Every dollar that you invest or spend or utilize on your farms, your business, will turn over probably 5 or 6 times in respective communities. And what I'd like to know and make sure is that if we can be helpful, and part of my job for the governor is to get on the phone and contact companies, try and take steps to alleviate or allay some concerns or impediments to business, to make sure we connect needs with opportunities, and to help in any way that we can. I would be honored to come back if you have smaller meetings. I get a chance to speak, and it's nice, but it's more important and more valuable for me to listen, to come back and be able to sit with a group of whatever I defer to David in terms of what he would think would be best, but to come and bring some key members of our staff to listen and be able to follow through, because we're on the road. We are out several days a week. I don't think anybody in the administration logs more miles in the ground than I do. We are out. We're in a car around the state. It has been a fabulous experience. I get a chance to see the farms and the land from every corner of New York State every single week, year round. It is beautiful and a fabulous opportunity for me to go out and do it. But I also get a chance to listen and get a chance to follow through. The governor's given me just great support and given our office great support to be an assist in these areas. So I would like to make that offer to be able to come back and listen. But I'll close by saying this. In the last 13 or 14 months of this administration, I can't see any historical examples of any governor doing more for a state than Governor Cuomo has done. He has started more change. He has really helped turn the state around. He's created a sense of confidence in the state. He gets it. You look at economic development, we're not 50th or 49th in business, or we have been in the past 49th. It didn't happen overnight. Sometimes where we are today is years and years of decisions that perhaps could have been better thought through. What you do very well is you lobby and bring it to the attention of members of the Assembly and the Senate Executive Branch how we could change that. That's incredibly important. I was very happy to hear. I think one of the examples was a meeting today with legislators from downstate who really are very much engaged with agriculture. I just would say this job has been an education for me. You have to keep educating us in terms of what we can do to help and support. Your industry and what you do is critically important, and there's so many opportunities for change. There's many good things that are happening now. I think it's just beginning to scratch the surface of what we can do. So I just appreciate very much the chance to come. and be here. And I would love to, again, offer David to come back and bring a team to come and listen and follow through. And I have one invitation. I'm going to Goshen to visit this great farm. So I'm going to go down and hopefully sometime in the next couple of months get a chance to get down and visit. But part of what my job entails, one thing to listen and to hear examples. I like to get out and walk and see it. So I certainly, as best I can schedule, I think go out on site and visit farms. I've sat with husbands and wives and families who own farms. I've listened to some of their frustrations, their costs, some of the issues of laws and legislation in this state that really impact them, like a lot of laws impact regular traditional businesses as well. Our job is to try and do everything we can to try and make those changes where we can, work with the Assembly and the Senate to make those changes, and hopefully have this industry even grow. $4.7 billion a year is huge. I think it can go nowhere but up, given the fact that what we have here. So my last words are this: I want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you do. I want to thank you for allowing me to walk into my Wegmans or Price Chopper or farm market every week and buy some of the greatest food anybody could ever buy, for providing me and my family with a sense of health with what we can eat and having an overabundance of that. I don't take that for granted. It's something that I really appreciate. And I just will close by giving you one story. When I was at the police department in Rochester, we had an exchange program with the Moscow Police Department back, I think it was in the 80s. It might have been actually probably early to mid 80s. There's a Wegmans supermarket, which I'm a big fan of, in my neighborhood. And I believe it was a colonel from the Moscow Police Department, who was a woman, came in. So part of her tour was to go into a grocery store. And if you go back in that era, the economic times in the USSR and Russia were pretty poor at that point. She walked into Wegmans and she broke into tears because she never saw anything like that in her life. And it made us realize what we have, because here's a woman who did not have rows and rows and rows of food, fresh food, products that you walk in and pick of anything you wanted. Because in many countries and many communities, they don't have that. We have it here. We have it here based upon the work that you do. We are blessed with that, so I want to thank you on behalf of the governor and all of us for what you do every day to provide those great services. And I am very confident you'll get the same support coming back from us to help you prosper as well. So thank you so much, and God bless you.